Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much, Carly, for the introduction and having me here today. I'm so happy to be here because this is the very first talk of this analytical social series in this year. And Carly and I are very good friends since we are grad students, some 20 years ago. 2011. 2001. When I was there, huge. And today, we are talking about we scrutinize the role of romantic partners in union formation or partnership formation. We'll give you a lot of pictures and visuals, so please be prepared. It's a joint work with Yuji Liang. She is a PhD student on Oxford sociology. I think she is online. Yuji, are you here? Yuji?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Okay, so I try to be crystal clear, but if you're clear, please stop me and raise the questions for clarification. So let me start with my research question. When a romantic partnership is included in the union formation processes, do union formation trajectories show heterogeneous patterns or only homogeneous patterns? Why? Because for me, a romantic partnership, it's a logical prerequisite of forming unions. Because we have to find a partner before we start cohabitation or getting married. And similarly, a union is also a logical prerequisite of fertility or giving birth. However, so far, this romantic partnership is mostly overlooked in the previous studies. So this is why I. So what is romantic partnership, by the way? Here's a very brief definition. We're going to it in the next slide. So romantic partnership. When you are paired, you are partnered, but not in cohabitation or in marriage, then I call it romantic partnership. So this is based on the behaviors experiences, not based on romantic emotions, romantic passions, romantic motivations. It has nothing to do with those emotions, but based on the behaviors or residential legal status. And any gender combinations are allowed. So, for the union formation, it consists of 4 states in the study: a single, romantic partnership, cohabitation, and the marriage. So here you can see that we included romantic partnership. So usually it's not included, but here we did. And what is family formation? Family formation as fertility to union formation. And we are interested in the dynamics, that is longitudinal change, transformations of union, how unions are built and developed. So we use sequence analysis. Okay. So what is romantic partnership? Then we use 4 partnerships or union states here. So if you are paired, married legally or marriage, then we call it marriage. It's clear. And then if you are paired but not married, however living together, then we call the state a cohabitation. And if you are not living together but you have a partner, then we call that state romantic partnership. And those partners are romantic partners. And if you're not partnered, then we call the state single. So here is a picture. This is one of my favorite stories of Romeo and Juliet. And they are in partnership, so we call their state romantic partnership. However, here's a Roman holiday, another favorite stories of mine. Mine. Yes, so of course, they are attracted by each other. However, they are not partner, but they dated only. So we have to call them. And here, the marriage includes de facto marriage, but so not, it's not limited to. And sometimes romantic partnership is called LAT, living apart together. Yeah, of course, they have much overlaps, but they have some differences. So in this study, we call it romantic partnership. But if you want, you can call it LAT. So the literature, what has been done on this topic? Rob and Sokolino, they studied a German population and to identify 5 clusters in German childless subpopulation like this. And these figures, they give you a very nice introduction to sequence analysis. The x-axis is the age from 18 to 40. The y shows sequences. So each horizontal line, it shows real person's real union history from age 18 to 40. So if you look at the figures very closely, then you can see so many people's different sequences of union histories. And then this platform, and they found 5 clusters, and mostly singles here, mostly marriage, mostly cohabitation, and mostly land. We call it rather. However, they focus only on childless subpopulation. So the parents populations are excluded, and so we don't know anything about the whole population's cluster. So we do. So union formation is union formation is like a journey. So we can start. Most people start from single, but you can go. You want to run partnership, but you can skip it to say cohabitation or marriage, and then if you need it, you can return to any state. So there is no specific destinations and no specific routes. Here, just keep it. And no specific destinations. And here, the union formation processes. I want to introduce a notion of institutionalization. What is it? It represents a stability levels of partnership. And usually, it has an order from single to long partnership to cohabitation to marriage, as they are on this order. In this order, the partnership becomes more and more stable with living conditions and then satisfying legal conditions. Am I clear so far? So let me introduce a theory to raise hypothesis. I came from a rational choice camp, so I use a social capital concept here. So suppose that people invest time, money, and efforts in building romantic partnership as social capital. And once we acquire and accumulate those social capital, then the partnership might be more institutionalized. That is from single to long partnership to cohabitation to marriage, if they want. As a result, we may expect more fertility and possibly more happiness. This is my framework. So based on this theoretical framework, then I raised 4 hypotheses. But the first 2 are our focus today. And then the last 2, we don't give much priorities to them. The first one, union formation trajectories. They will show heterogeneous patterns rather than homogeneous patterns. And the second hypothesis, romantic partnership. It will have uneven prevalence across those patterns rather than even patterns. So some, if they have heterogeneity, some patterns might be characterized by partnership and some not. This is what we expect here. The fourth, and third one, generation and cohorts. Those different demographic groups will have different compositions of patterns. If they have a different. And finally, if the institutionalization proceeds, then we will expect more fertility among those patterns. They will test them using sequence analysis and class analysis. Any questions? Now, let's move on to the next. By the way, I have 45 minutes for. Okay. Okay. Data. We use this data on the Japanese representative national representative sample in the Japanese society. And we use some sample a little bit more than 3,000. Collect retrospective union histories from age 15 to the current age. And by the way, the sample consists of those aged from 35 to 49. So at least we have 21 years from age 15 to age 35, and possibly. Please please be careful that in Japan, cohabitation and extramarital unmarried parents, they are not so popular. But rather, I would say it's very, very rare. According to the national data, there only around 2% of the population cohabitation and unmarried parents. I think I'm afraid that this is probably different from Western societies, right? So we will see them. So on the way, we try to compare our result with the German cases. So you'll see them later. Okay, so the problem is how to measure romantic partnership. And we after a discussion, we decided to measure it by respondents' definition. That is, we didn't define what romantic partnership is in the questionnaire. And instead, we left the definition to the respondents. So, on the other hand, what did other surveys in Careful on the German population? It says it measures intimate relations or partner. Here is a question from the Careful. This is involving I'll ask you about intimate relationships or partner. Then originally it was written in German, so it uses tested with CU. And unfortunately, I'm staying in Munich now, so I asked Josef, who is the PI of this survey, and he said it's more than intimate relationships. It implies like serious, tight, long-lasting, constant, fixed relationships. So it's more than intimate, like more fixed, regular relationships. And it also asks about on the past relations over 6 months, or living together, or having kids, or important in any sense. What about in GSS in States? They asked romantic involvement, steady, lover, partner, whatever. These are about other surveys they asked. So this is how we asked in the questionnaire. In this question, we asked them to check ages of partnership from age 15 to their current age on romantic partnership. When romantic partnership starts, new romantic partnership starts, and when it broke up, and also cohabitation and marriage. Also, we asked the number of partnerships partners. And of course, we asked detailed information on marriage and divorce in a different question. So that was X. And here's Y on fertility. Of course, we asked the number of the children and when they gave birth. Also, we asked the happiness level at the age of 35, right after the observation. Oh, I'm sorry. Later, I'll tell you that we observed from age 15 to 35. So this means when right after the observation ended at the age of 35. And so these groups as usual. So next question will be how to code, because we have to reconstruct from the original data to the sequence data. And it requires us to make some analytical decisions. So this is I'll show you what we did. I'm sorry, if you can see. Sequence analysis is a quantitative analysis of quantitative analysis of qualitative categorical sequences. It's a kind of mixture of quantitative and qualitative. So what is sequence, the analytical unit of sequence analysis? It's defined as an ordered categorical states. And it has rich information in transition timing, duration, and the order, which comes before and after. And the sequence analysis is first developed in analyzing DNA, because it has 4 types of nucleic acids, like A, T, C, and Z. And it's ordered in one sequence, like this, in a very famous Allow. And it was then introduced to the social sciences by Andrew Allen in 1990s. Actually, he's one of my advisors. And then the method is applied to like employment, family, time use in 24 hours, or even dance steps. Interesting. And then we have to solve this similarity. But why is it? Because we have 4 sets here, single, romance, and cohabitation marriage in 21 years. That means 4 to the 21st power equals 4.4 trillion. 4.4 trillion different patterns theoretically. This is so huge, so complex. So we have to reduce this complex while keeping this, their essences. But this is why optimal matching is required. So we use optimal matching to reduce the complexity. And then we conduct class analysis to group them into interpretable, small but meaningful patterns. So partnership sequence must have equal length. And this time, we decided to censor the data at the age of 35. Why? Because everyone is 35 or more. So we can analyze the whole sample here. And sequence may look like this. Age, it's a combination of age and its statement from age 15 to 35. And each state must be categorical and not numerical. And so this in this study, we chose those 4 states. And we decided to ignore which partner or the past experience. This means we don't distinguish the first romantic partner or second, the first cohabitation partner or second, first marriage or second. We don't distinguish. Because we try to make it as simple as possible at the first place. Also, we don't care about the past experience. So if you get divorced, then we don't distinguish you, those divorced single two divorce single and never partner single. We don't distinguish. We call them all, both just single. Of course, we can distinguish that, but it makes it much more complicated. So we only have those four. And no multiple answers are allowed. Like at the age of 18, we can allow only one state, not single, not single and wrong, but only wrong. So for this purpose, we decided to override the current state with the later state. And then also we prioritized more institutionalized states like marriage over cohabitation over romantic partnership. So for example, if one had an extramarital cohabitation or extramarital partnership, we ignore it. Why is it? Because they're still in marriage. So we code the age with marriage. This is our analytical decisions. So let me give you examples. Here, John Lennon and Taylor Swift. And according to Wikipedia, John found the first romantic partner at the age of 18, and then he got married to her at the age of 22, and then divorced at the age of 28 and started cohabitation. And then she got married to the person at age 29. But during the second marriage, she started an extramarital cohabitation for 2 or 3 years. And then he returns to the same second marital partner. A little complicated. While Taylor, she had very simple human trajectories from 15 to 34. According to Wikipedia, she kept sick. And then she had a first romantic partner, and then remains in the same relationship until age 35 now. So let me compare them. So here are coordinates. And we decided to observe age 15 to 35. So John Lennon died at age 40, but we delete those ages from 36 to 40. And then ignore partners. So we don't distinguish first marriage and the second marriage. We only code them with marriage status. And override with later states. So for example, here, at the age of 29, he was cohabiting, and then he got married to the same person. But we only call the age with marriage because it happened later. And the private marriage over cohabitation over marriage. So we ignored this extramarital cohabitation. And so the data says he kept married from age 33 to 35. So this cohabitation was skipped. And then now we get approximate data from age 15 to 35 with 4 states. So based on this data, we have these partnership sequences shown and Taylor. Quite often in sequence analysis, we use these visuals using colors to condense information. So the problem here is how similar they are. It seems quite different from each other, but we don't know how similar or dissimilar. So here, so this is why we have to use optimal matching. So optimal matching means pairwise comparisons of all possible pairs of sequences. Because it's really needs huge calculation. So here distance means at the cheapest minimum cost of transform from one sequence to another. So I'll show you. And here we define the cost, indirect cost, insert and division cost for one and substitution cost for two. This is a very typical cost setting. But if we change this cost, yeah, even so, we don't see much differences about the result. So here, let me start with from John. John here. First, we delete his age from 20 to 35. And it has 16 years, so it equals 60. And then move this 2 years multi-partnership to the end. But it has no cost. Why? Because in sequence analysis, these two are regarded as exactly the same sequence. But this white space, they are void. They have nothing. So it has only 5 years. And they are regarded as. And then we insert single states from age 18 to 33 with a cost of 60. Now we see, now we reach that error from John. And then we have with the cost of 30. This is what we do in sequence analysis. And then we compare all the possible pairs to the similarity matrix. So the matrix is really, really huge, like 3,000 times 3,000. So once we got this similarity matrix, then we can find like medleys. Medleys are central sequences among the whole sequences in sense of dissimilarity measurement. So this is an example of a German population from Robinson or Lima's book. This is here's a medley German man, and it's a medley German woman. You can see that they experience similar states from single partnership to cohabitation to marriage, but all of them happen a little bit 3 to 4 years earlier in females. This is German case, and then we identify clusters using that method, and sometimes we use regressions with clusters X or Y, whichever. So am I clear so far? Okay. So now with those settings, now I can show you our results. So first, let me start with descriptions from the original data. The survival curves. So if in the first hypothesis, we assumed a heterogeneous patterns. If it's the case, then the survival curves should look not like this. This is the result. We found this. So first, the mass partnership, they found patterns like this, and then this marriage, cohabitation, and fertility. So the romantic partnership drops faster among these 4 lines. And please note that we observed only limited progresses after age 35. Like here. We only say only 1% progress for partnership or 2% for cohabitation. But marriage has added more of 6%. So this means this is a kind of rationale for us to start observing at the age of 35. So most union formation processes have ended by the age of 35. So transition matrix here. So this shows the average transition rates from a state to another state in the next stage, average. So we can easily see that it's not easy to exit this singleness. On the other hand, the marriage seems like an absorbing state. 99% will remain in marriage in the next stage, at the next stage on the average. So let me compare this with German canton. You can see that more or less similar patterns. However, the striking difference is like here, cohabitation. In Germany, a cohabitation is a kind of another observing state with 80% of remaining in the same place in the next stage. So I skip this and skip this. Okay, so sequence. What sequence is you find here? The sequences. And if the heterogeneity applies here, then the chronogram should look not like this. This means over the age 15 to 35, everyone experiences exactly the same union history. But if the hypothesis applies, it shouldn't. So what do you find? What we have here. This is called sequence index 4. It shows each sequence here from age 15 to 35. So if you have very good eyes, then you can see 3,000 different sequences. I can see. And chrono, it shows each age's share of four states. So in this case, the horizontal line has no sense. It makes no sense. Unlike sequence. So in the sequence in this plot, we found a little less than 2,000 patterns, different patterns in 3,000 other sequences. Because some sequences they have overlaps. But still, we have 2,000 different sequences, so we can expect enough diversity here. Now, what are most frequent sequences? The most frequent were here. What is this? This means the long-lasting singleness from age 15 to 35. This was the most frequent. And the second was a transition from single marriage into marginal marriages. However, those top sequences, they only account for 18%. And so most are they don't cover the diversity of sequences. So let me show you representative sequences in two ways. The model. It comes from the chronogram. It shows only the modal state in each age. So we can see dominant state in each age from age 15 to 35. Here we can see that the model person, they start from single and then get married at age 20. This is the model person. And another representative sequence is the middle. It shows the very central sequence among the 3,000 sequences measured by dissimilarity matrix. So here, similar but slightly different with 3 years romantic partnership. So they start from single. But they found a romantic partner at age 25, and it lasted for 3 years, and then got married. The both two are different. Two types of representing the whole sample, the whole sequence. So let me compare chronograms by subpopulations. It's male and female, but we don't see much difference between those genders. So for our cohorts, 35 and more, 40 and more, 45 and more. Again, we don't see huge differences here. However, let me compare childless to parents. Those two populations, subpopulations, we see huge differences here. So, like in the childless population, we see a lot more of singles, while the parents have more and more married. Yes, please.
Is the childlessness measured like at age 35, like at the end of the observation period, or?
At the end of our observation. So if the person is say 50 and then he has no child at 50, then the person is called to childless. So it's not limited to 35, but it includes after 35. Thanks for the clarification. Do you have any questions? Okay, so let me compare timing, duration, and the repetition of the information. So the mean firstly is here. First month, 19 first month. So 3 or 4 years intervals. They experience from single to from partnership to cohabitation to marriage. So years spent in 21 years. We observed 21 years. Here, the dominant state was singleness, about half, a little less than half, and then marriage and partnership. The cohabitation was only 1.9% in 21 years, quite rare. Also, the number of episodes, how many successive states they experience. It shows how many successive states they experience. So on the average, they had 1.6 success states, while 1.3 partnership and 0.8 marriage. So we can see, but very roughly speaking, they have 1.3 romantic partners and 0.8 spouse. Very roughly speaking. But the cohabitation is not so common here. So let me compare them with German company. Here's a German case. They have more marriage here as a result of their observation periods from 18 to 40. So they have a more higher aged populations. That might be one. Then, if you look at this graph of number of episodes, here we see so many similarities or coincidence, like 1.6, 1.6 singleness, 1.3 partners, or 0.8 spouses, exactly the same as our data. I'm so surprised. Well, it cannot be solved. So I made miscalculation, but it does not the case. However, the striking differences lie in cohabitation. The Germans, they experience on the average 1.0 cohabitation, while Japan has about 1/3.
Can you describe again what is the successive state in this case?
Oh, it means okay. For example, if a romantic partnership continues from say age 18, 19, 20, and then return to single 20 and 22, and then start on another partner like 22, 23. Then we count 2 episodes.
Okay,
But it may include, say, the first partner and second partner in a success sequence, but we don't distinguish them. Any other questions?
So 0.3 means that they don't go from romantic partnership to marriage, or they go straight from there. So that's why if you have a 1 day.
0.3 here?
Yeah, so if you have less than 1 there, it means that they go straight from romantic partnership to marriage. Because they don't have success. You wouldn't have 1 successive state.
Of cohabitation.
Mm-hmm. Is that what that means?
Not necessarily. It only says they have on the average 0.3 chances of having success cohabitation.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't imply any transition from romance to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So is the direction this is going is that, you see these different marriage rates for the German and the Japanese case.
Mhm.
And that you might explain the fact that we see fewer marriages in Japan by the fact that there seems to be a norm against cohabitation. So if you never enter into cohabitation, that maybe dramatically reduces the risk that you'll ever transition into marriage.
Transition from what to marriage?
From cohabitation, if you never enter into cohabitation, you can't transition from cohabitation to marriage.
But it's not measuring that.
No, but I don't know if that, I'm just asking if that's an implication of where we're going.
Correct. We don't see much transitions from cohabitation marriage because cohabitation rarely happens.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that you could explain differences in marriage rates and maybe even differences in fertility partly between the German and the Japanese case.
Mhm.
I mean, both of them have relatively low fertility rates
Yeah.
now,
Yes.
but the reason maybe that Germany hasn't gotten so low yet as Japan is that there's no norm against cohabitation.
Mhm.
Whereas
So, correct. So
in Japan, there's a norm against cohabitation, which means you never get to marriage, right? Because there's this roadblock.
right. So of course, you may know that both two countries suffer from low fertility. The reason might be quite different because we have no quite rare complications. So that means extramarital, unmarried fertility is quite low in Japan. Then move on. Okay, so here's this some general groups like it shows how people allocate 21 years in those four states. And here I compare males and females, and males had more single time, actually 2 years more, and 0.4 years. 0.4 less romantic partnership years compared to females. However, we found almost no age gaps. Had spent 21 years. And childless had almost double of single-less years. So now we reach the patterns. This is what I wanted to show you today. So the first hypothesis was on the heterogeneity. And if it holds true, then it should not look like. But in a very, very extreme case, these are the types. Like if they have 3 patterns, then those patterns are dominated by different patterns might be dominated by different states. These are very extreme cases. And some cutoff indicators showed that four clusters. They are the optimal clusters in this sample. So here's that. Look at these beautiful pictures. We have 4 clusters, and the upper 4 show index plot. That is, each and every sequence, it represents real union formation history. So, even at the first look, we see striking differences, right? It has more singles, more romantic partnership, more marriage, and we see romance and marriage here. Here, those chronographs, they also reconfirm those observations. Mostly single, mostly romance, mostly marriage, and romance marriage. We check these intuitions now. They show model plots and methods. And they also confirmed our observations. Like mostly single, mostly partnership, mostly marriage, with an interval of romance, and mostly marriage to marriage. Romance to marriage. So, how to interpret those 4 clusters? based on the average mean years spent in 21 years, we can make this 2 by 2 table with, say, a short romantic partnership under 3 years or long partnership over 9 years. On the other hand, short marriage under 1 year or longer marriage over 7 years. Then we see, we can put those 4 clusters. So first cluster, we decided to call it mostly single cluster. This they show chronograms. And the second, we call it mostly romantic partnership cluster. The third, mostly marriage cluster, because finally they got married. And the fourth, mostly romantic partnership to marriage cluster. So now we found 4 distinctive and heterogeneous clusters as we predicted. And those 2 clusters, in these 2 clusters, the romantic partnership was the most dominant state among 4 states. So we can say that in those 2 clusters are clearly characterized by romantic partnership. So let me compare some images. These are those comparisons. They also support our observations. So let me move on to testing that second hypothesis. The second hypothesis, we assume the uneven prevalence of romantic partnership across 4 states, across 4 clusters. So if it holds true, then those shares should not look like this, not like this, but they have different prevalence across 4 clusters. And this is how it is here. So clearly, we have different prevalence across clusters. And then in these two clusters, the romantic partnership is overrepresented. On the other hand, these 2 clusters, the romantic partnership is underrepresented. So, and then in these clusters there, the romantic partnership years dominate all 21 years. And those 2 clusters, they accounted for about a quarter of the whole population. So it's not too huge, but we cannot ignore it. So I would say romantic partnership is indispensable in the formation processes. So I'll move on to the third hypothesis on composition gaps by gender and cohort. And we see the graph reports the result. We see some differences on like singleness or single clusters or marriage clusters or by gender groups or a cohort age subgroups. So we see that male had 12% more single cluster and young had 5% more single cluster. So we observe gaps, not huge gaps, but some gaps. But however, the romantic partners cluster, it has almost the same prevalence across subgroups.
By age share, it's really more a proxy for cohort, right? Because you're saying the age at the time of the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a cohort proxy.
Yes.
It just is cohort. Yeah. There's younger cohorts and older cohorts.
And also, we compare Charles and parent, and over here. The Charles have much more, about 50% more single cluster than parent subgroup. Of course, it makes sense. Then the final hypothesis on fertility. We hypothesize that the more institutionalized, they have more fertility. Those two, marriage and romantic marriage, they reach that marriage, the final, the most stable, most institutionalized form. And what happened here? As predicted, the fertility increased like this. So Mars had 0.2 more kids than single cluster. And the rest two clusters, they had about 1.4 more kids than single cluster. And then multiple comparison tell us that all clusters have difference. And then also regressions there, we can cover.
But what does the number mean here? Is it that the people in the single, they are still have
Average kids.
they have on average still half of or like 0.5.
They might
Sure.
also be divorced. So
Single, we call it single cluster, but it doesn't mean they spend all the 20 years as single. Sometimes they have partners, or sometimes they cohabitate, sometimes they get married, but from as a result of sequence analysis, they are similar to singles.
I see.
They are judged as. This is a good question. Any other questions? So institutionalization matter. And then compared happiness by cluster. This is the kind of bonus result here. And we also found very similar pattern. Happiness at the age of 35, right after the age observation. So let me conclude. Here are test results of all hypotheses. Now all hypotheses were fortunately. So now I can answer to our research question. What was the research question? With the partnership included in the information. With information trajectory, information trajectories show heterogeneity or homogeneity. I would say that yes, it showed heterogeneity because we found 4 very, very distinctive clusters. So I would say the romantic partnership is so far overlooked in the information processes, but it's not redundant, and rather it's essentially embedded in partnership. Now, what are next steps? Well, natural extension would be conducting multi-dimensional sequence analysis with say fertility, labor, poverty, happiness, whatever, with other sequences. We can do it at the same time. Or international comparisons. It might be another logical extension of this study. But why we observe heterogeneity? But why? Possibly people have different strategies in different education groups. And also other questions may include that whether new formation is voluntary or involuntary, or they can choose clusters equally or unequally. Okay. So finally, the sequence in this today. So the sequence analysis revealed 4 distinctive clusters, and I show you a lot of graphics like them. So it's simply fun. So I'm so happy if you are interested in sequence analysis. And then as a result, romantic partnership, it cannot be ignored in partnership process. Logical is the first step, and it's a kind of cradle for further, formation. So let's measure analysis, and then it can be a blue. I would say it's a blue ocean in social inequality studies. Yesterday I talked to Carolee, and we agree that we should seek blue oceans rather than red oceans. Fortunately, the romantic partnership has not been so much studied, so I welcome it. So let's compare this. The romantic partnership and in general, union formation is heavily relied on cultural differences. So I want to hear your country's stories. It will enrich our intuitions, interpretations. And this paper is in press now, so it will be published in March. So please search it in March.
In which journal?
Sorry?
Which journal?
It's not refuted, unfortunately, but it's a Japanese journal. So if you're interested, I can tell you.
Okay.
Okay, and this is a rare chance to share your opinions. So let me hear your tips, like on say, we're still wondering which notion we should use, union formation or partnership formation. Because union formation, it may imply creating labor union in an industry. So partner formation might be better, but I'm still not sure. Let me hear your feedbacks.
It could be about law firms becoming partner.
The next one is a couple of points of becoming a partner. It's not easy to distinguish from singles and romantic partner. We can easily distinguish romantic partner and cohabitors because they are living together on that, and cohabitors and married couple because they are legally married or marriage. But it's not easy to find whether this person is these two are partner or not. It's not easy. So for example, if they have mutual agreement or exclusiveness or like pair farm, we ask partnership more than 6 months or so. Just tell me what it should be. And also, I'm interested in partnership formation. So I want to visit some very popular dating spots as a field. So if you have any ideas in say Norrköping or in Stockholm, I'll be Stockholm tomorrow. So don't hesitate to tell me. Thank you so much.